What is a sign of toxic parenting? Never actually teaching your kids anything, just criticizing. I told you so, and, because I said so. Always believing they're right because they're the adult and therefore not letting the child have any say. When they constantly invalidate your feelings. My mom assumed any time I had a negative feeling, it was because I had PMS and not that I could formulate a coherent thought with my own feelings. Parents not understanding kids have bad days too. They may not have a bad day like an adult would, but to their little minds they can get just as overwhelmed as we can mentally. Not being allowed to make mistakes and constantly being shouted at for them. Being unable to apologize. Setting and enforcing standards they themselves don't follow. Guilt-tripping your kids into begging for your forgiveness. Damn, I had toxic parents. I really appreciate reading the comments. Thank you, op. What's a sign of extremely high intelligence? They know when not to solve a problem. This took me a while to understand, but the smartest people I know do this. Keep on watching, you're definitely one of them. The capacity to understand complex things, see patterns where regular people don't. When they explain something, they make the people around them feel smarter, not dumber. A passion for knowledge and expanding understanding of complex concepts. The plumber can be just as insightful as the scholar. I knew a dude who took a course on quantum mechanics, never studied or did homework, and 2 days before the final crammed and got a 96% on his exam while almost everyone else got 60s and 70s. Knowing that while you may know a lot, you also know you don't have all the answers, and being open to learning from life and others. What's a massive scandal, controversy that people seem to have forgotten about? I still feel like Equifax got off way too easy. People should have been arrested. That breach was a direct result of negligence. Boy George, he was jailed for 15 months for imprisoning a Norwegian male escort after a nude photoshoot, in what the judge called a premeditated, callous and humiliating assault. He basically tortured him. And now he hosts TV shows in Australia. In 2016, South Korea had a political scandal in which the president Park Geun-hye was exposed for being manipulated, controlled by a cult called the Eight Goddesses Cabal. South Korea was literally being ruled by a cult. Park was impeached. In the Philippines, the dictatorship and the extrajudicial killings as well as the corruption under the presidency of Ferdinand Marcos seem to be forgotten already. People here even elected his son as the president. The various genocides going on in Asia and Africa right now. No one seems to care unless it's a slow news week, which hasn't happened in a few years with the current political shitstorm in America, Europe. What are some things American people do that instantly tell you that they're American? I asked for a refill of Coke on vacation at a restaurant in Australia. They said I've got to be American and had a good laugh. I'm an American, and when my family and I went to Ireland, every person we met wearing a shirt that just said, Ireland, on it was an American. Freshman, sophomore, extremely extroverted and talkative. I've lived in Germany for 14 years and I've never seen strangers talk really. When I went to America, everyone was so nice and talkative. It was a nice but strange experience. Most Americans I meet are some of the friendliest, polite people. That being said, they are unmistakably loud and oversharing of personal details. Also, they should know that the customer is not always right, that service industry jobs are respectable occupations, and asking for ketchup is a dead giveaway. Attempt British accents when you say you're British, if they choose to walk to the hospital after being mortally wounded. Why do we drink cow's milk? Because I'm not lactose intolerant. Because it tastes good and is easy to get. Same reason we consume any animal product, I suppose. Because we eat beef and they gotta find something to do with it. Delicious and easier to milk than a tiger. Historically, in places where the grass-to-people ratio was high, cow's milk was an incredibly efficient way to get calories and nutrients. Now, it's because people like drinking it. Wee-hoo. I drink almond milk. Not animal pus. Which century or decade of the past would you like to live in and why? 90s or early 2000s, we have the benefit of technology before our minds got ruined by it. Yeah. This game is only fun for white men. As a woman, if you go back a few decades you have pretty much zip rights, and if you go back a few centuries you would automatically get burned at the stake cause woman that knows things, equals which. I would go back to 2015 and buy a couple of bitcoins. In the 19th century in the Wild West, I would like to feel this era. As a fan of westerns, somewhere around the time of Game of Thrones, I would go back 10 years so that I wouldn't make those mistakes that would change my life. I'm black, so 2275. Something easy to do, but hard to master. Take a picture. Playing chess or most games. Arguing, running, jogging. Everyone can run, not everyone can run long or fast. Piano. People have trouble making a clear tone on a lot of other instruments. Like, it's low-key hard to play AC on a violin if you've never held one before, but anyone can press a key. Using Microsoft Excel. Self-discipline or routine stuff. I mean, it's very easy to sleep early one day. Wake up early one day. Go to gym one day, but doing such things every day in a routine. Day trading stocks. Learning how to Google. A lot of people can do it. It's really easy to just search things up, but there are ways to advance your search and make it much more specific to your needs. What did you falsely believe as a kid? I watched a lot of Wallace and Gromit and actually thought the moon was made out of cheese, that the Bermuda Triangle was way more deadly than it is. My stepdad was in the Navy and had a cruise that went through it. I was legitimately afraid his ship would be sunk and no trace ever found. You die when you turn 100. I was so afraid of attending funerals but took comfort in the fact that my great-grandpa wouldn't turn 100 until I was in my 20s, so I could move away and not get back in time for the funeral. Also that since I was born at 10:56 p.m. that I would be asleep when I died since that was a really late time of day. Then my great-grandpa had a heart attack and died when I was 8 and I was really confused. That yellow lights turned on when they detected dangerous conditions, like an erratic driver or nearing pedestrians. I thought this because my parents said that the yellow light meant to watch out, without further clarification. Thought my mom makes the best mushroom soup in the world and it's her recipe. Then found out it was just Campbell. I thought teachers lived at the school. What's a funny memory you have that if you told someone, they'd think you're lying? I once checked in at a restaurant and gave the hostess my name to hold my slot. She then asked for my last name since the person below shared my first name. When I told her my last name, she looked at me like I was lying. The person below had my first and last name. She laughed and introduced us, and we took a pic. I've never met someone with my same first and last name since. Started college. Saw my brother's best friend on campus, from a distance. Hard to miss. Nate's 6 feet 6 inches, skinny, long brown hair. Fitting of our childish friendship, I straight up open field tackle the guy. From behind. Blindsided. It's not Nate. I apologize and sheepishly run away. 3 hours later, a girlfriend from high school introduces her new boyfriend to a group of us. It's the guy the first tackled. Danny. Super nice and forgiving guy. We've been friends for 15 years. I got stung by a platypus. My girlfriend just left me for another guy. I would like to know what are your experiences of getting dumped for another guy. No matter how difficult it is, you have to force yourself to cut all contact indefinitely. Checking her socials is also something you don't want to do anymore. That's the fastest way to heal from this. Don't seek answers, because there isn't any. She could write you a novel why she did it and that wouldn't be enough. What's done cannot be undone anyway, so just move on as best you can. Mine left when I was in hospital, apparently dying because of leukemia because I was too much work. I know for me it helped to double my focus on my work and my personal goals. I got back into old hobbies and reconnected with my friends and family. You'll still wake up at 2 in the morning feeling dejected, but that's okay. Time to love yourself, bud. Keep your head up. You'll find someone better. Don't be surprised when she comes around knocking someday after it doesn't work out. What's a life lesson you learned the hard way? Just because someone is family doesn't mean they will not screw you over. Go to the dentist. Teeth don't heal, they only get worse. Don't fall too fast for someone. Make backups of your important files. I'm still annoyed that I lost my original Minecraft world back in 2011, due to the hard drive suffering a hardware level fault. Don't invite someone you barely know to your own home because you're trying to help them get back up on their feet. I knew it was a bad idea, but I thought maybe I could help out. Never doing that again. Don't give up on something without even trying. Even if you are convinced you will fail. In life, no one will do it for you, you have to do it yourself. Just because you really want to trust someone, that does not automatically make them trustworthy. Don't believe what people say they are. Believe what they show you they are. I have had many people in my life who I wanted so badly to be who they said they were, only to completely ignore everything they showed me to be the opposite. Words are misleading. Actions absolutely are not. It's in our actions that actually show us and everyone else who we truly are. What makes you stay up at night? My overactive imagination. I just make shit up in my head, cause it takes me a hot minute to fall asleep, so I just make fake scenarios and have fun. This freaking heat and humidity. My ex and I just broke up a few days ago, so being alone with myself isn't that fun. Endlessly scrolling seems to silence some of that. The realization that I'm going nowhere. Overthinking. I overthink a lot of things, feelings, past things such as breakups, losing friends, you get the point. It's never something good. They prefer I stay awake at work. Insomnia. What is the most cowardly and shameful thing you've ever done because you were scared? 2 older kids ganged up on my best friend and gave him a beat down when we were kids, like, 3rd grade. He didn't provoke it either, they were the aggressors. I just froze up and didn't help him out. I still feel bad about it 40 years later. I should have defended my buddy. I felt a panic when someone I loved fell into a full body seizure. I was ignorant of what to do and lost my shit. That was 2004, still disgusted at myself. Shit, you're making me look back on my whole life uncomfortably. Didn't tell my then friend's wife he was cheating on her with their neighbor because I was scared I would lose the friendship I had with the entire family. I ended up losing them anyways in the fallout. Cried in front of my whole class cause I thought my teacher would punish me. I am a boy. Ghosted some really good female friends because my wife wasn't comfortable with me having so many of them. I stole something minor from my grandpa's house when I was a kid. My grandpa noticed and accused me of taking it. He was mad. I denied it and swore it wasn't me. My grandpa believed me, and assumed my little brother took it instead, since he was the only other possibility. He yelled at my little brother, and I kept quiet. I was so scared, and I let my little brother take the rap. What's the worst thing to say right after kissing? It's different when you're awake. Hey, you're almost as good as your sister. Yup, I'm gay. Based on true events, I said, it's nice to practice so that I don't fuck up when I'm kissing my true love. Safe to say girl was not pleased and smacked my face. So long, and thanks for all the fish. The guy pulled away from me after our first kiss and said, that felt uncomfortable. We were still young adults. After my first time making out with a girl when I was 14 I just said, damn, and went back to watching the movie. It was extremely awkward. Throwaway time. What's your secret that could literally ruin your life if it came out? I used to be a police fire 911 dispatcher, but had to quit because it nearly made me suicidal. I actually had thoughts, but had to drive 40 miles to go to a hospital where no one knew me for help. I have nightmares about a few calls I took where the caller killed themselves, shot someone else, or passed away on the phone with me. To this day, a few years after resigning, I still can't listen to a phone ring, or sirens go off without having a mild panic attack. I am fairly sure it's a form of PTSD, with flashbacks, nightmares, panic attacks, and an inability to function sometimes, but I'm embarrassed and scared to tell my fiancé, or go to a doctor for it. I know there are soldiers out there with real PTSD that deserve help far more than me. I am very good at hiding it though. I also sometimes wait until my fiancé goes to sleep, and I will then go sit and pretty much cry for several hours. It's hell. Slow left lane drivers, what is your deal? My favorite is when two semis go side by side on the interstate, one at 59.8 miles per hour and one at 59.81 miles per hour in a posted 70 miles per hour zone where it takes them 20 minutes to break free from one another. I live in one of the states that actually tickets for left line travel and failure to move right when another driver indicates wanting to pass. Let me tell you, nothing is more pleasing than watching statey's ticket out of state drivers dicking around in the left lane. How about the guy who tailgates you going when you're doing 85, you move over, and then he doesn't go faster? There is no thought process. The brain's cruise control activates, foot comes off the pedal, not checking the rear view. No thinking at all. Yes, I wish people would realize it's called the passing lane, as in if you're not passing anyone, get the hell out of the lane. What is the worst insult you've suffered from someone who didn't even mean it as an insult? One of my in-laws walked in when I was the only one in the house and, looking straight at me, said, "Oh, there's no one here," and turned and left. I started getting asked if I qualified for a senior discount in my 40s. You're pregnant? No. Are you sure? Never wore that dress again. My best friend told me that I am only funny when I'm drunk. I was a recovering alcoholic and man did that hurt. When I proposed to my wife she said, "I guess I can't say no," but she meant to say, "How can I say no?" She also had a panic attack the first time we kissed. You aren't even that ugly. What would you do if you had a clone? Play a shit ton of board games. Use him for spare parts. Make him go to work for me. Collect 2 incomes. Have my workload and bounce ideas off one another. I can do lines, he can ink or color. I'd rob a bank and let my clone rot in jail. First of all, I'd clarify which one of the two is really the clone.